Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Easy Does It podcast, created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. I am here with my co-host, Rob Johnson, and we are so excited to bring you a brand new episode in a brand new format today. So today we have a co-host with us, and we couldn't be more excited to bring this episode to you. So what can you expect from our new episode today? We're going to ask our guests some questions so you guys can get to know him a little bit better. Then we'll discuss a personal growth topic like we do every time that we're on the Easy Does It podcast. The cool thing about this personal growth topic is that our co-host chose it. So we'll dig into a few questions there, and then we'll finish up with a few fun things at the end. So without further ado, Rob, would you do the great honor of introducing our very first guest host for the Easy Does It podcast?
I couldn't be more ready. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Positivity, the true legend of Morris-Jenkins, and also the man whose feet have never seen daylight, Mr. Randy Tooker.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Thank you.
Woo, woo!
Thank you very much for having me here. I'm so excited. I am just honored.
Yeah.
I've listened to the other podcasts, and you read my mind, Meredith. I'm like, when can I get on this thing? that's the first thing I thought. How fast can I get on this thing? No, this is awesome.
Randy, I know our listeners, everybody that works here at Morris-Jenkins, everybody loves you, and so I know this is going to be good today. They can't wait to hear from you.
I love hearing that, and I truly, I love doing this. I love being here. I love all the interaction with everybody. I am not. You can't put that on for 17 plus years. You just can't. It's just this is just the best thing we've ever done.
You've put some things on over the past 17
Oh, we'll get to that.
If you know, you know.
How much time do we have today? I don't know if we're going to be able to cover all that.
Randy, I feel like, everybody that's worked here at some point has had an interaction with you, whether it be by their own doing or not, right? And so I know some people know some things about you, have heard some of the stories, have experienced you, but there are some new employees here too. So can you give us a little down and dirty, like 2 to 4 minute story? Who is Randy Tooker?
Oh man, Randy Tooker. He is, I am. He is someone who really came to love this industry. For 18 years old, my dad was a refrigeration man, and I went with him on a bunch of jobs, and he made $0. He would bring us back to restaurants and things like that because that was his bartering thing. He would fix it, and we'd go back to Chinese restaurant or wherever, and then we do that. But over the years, I went with him, and I loved what he did. I love that. And I got into the industry when I was 18 years old working for somebody. So I just spent most of my 17 years prior to Morris-Jenkins with a company in New Jersey. And I just love this field. And when we moved here to North Carolina to be with Morris-Jenkins, it was just 1,000 times better because I got to be with a company that was awesome. That's really my passion was to help people as a service technician. I love doing this work. But alongside of the work that we do and the people that we help, whether it's customers or employees or just everyone, I love being a dad to my 3 kids. Courtney, Alexis, and Brandon. And of course, I love being married. I have stories for days about Linda and I. Everybody's heard them.
Randy, be careful. She's going to listen to this later.
I was going to say, I have stories for days, and I've told you 1,000 times what I say here stays here, but that the cat always gets out of the bag. But I love the relationship we have, being the dad, being the husband, just and putting it all together. Because Linda knows, this is my life. Our family at home, but the family here at Morris-Jenkins is my life, and it's what I really love to do, and she's let me do what I do for years. What's maybe a little bit of pushback, maybe.
just a smidge.
I'm gonna keep it right there, but and that's it. I really I don't really have so many hobbies. I like to run. Everybody I think knows that I like to run. My son and I, he always tells me get to the gym. And I told him the other day, I'm going to the gym with Rob and the gang and Mark and the guys, and that's awesome. He loves that. He's been telling me for years to do that. So I do love that. I love running, and that's pretty much it. I'm pretty simple. I love Meatloaf. I love that. Not the band. I do love the band Meatloaf too back then, but that's it. I'm pretty simple. I'm pretty basic guy.
Yeah, there's some good running trails around here in Charlotte. You got a favorite?
Yes, I do. Well, okay. Josh Bartlett's gonna laugh. Everyone's gonna laugh because they even John Knight saw me. But I like the road run, and I'm the guy who's running down Independence on the Saturday or Sunday morning, getting clipped by car mirrors. Yes, people are like, "Why is that guy running? Who is that?" Oh, that's Randy. And so I love road running because I feel free as a bird. I can just go. The road doesn't end.
What the heck? Why are you running down Independence Boulevard?
Well, that's a great question. The trails have an end. The road doesn't end. I just can go. So if I want to go, I can just go. The trail, McAlpine Creek, that's a great one.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you can go and you can get past the park, past the running trails there, and get all the way to the end. I think it's about 7 miles. So that's great. I love that one. I'm trying to think if there's another one I've ran. That's one Linda and I frequent. We go to that one, but running really is. I'll get on like you said, roads by me. It's not always Independence, but what I like to do, combine things. If I have to drop our car off, I'll drive to Honda on Independence, and get out, and they're like, it's going to be about a couple hours. I'm like, great. So I just take off running like Forrest Gump.
And it just happens to be on Independence.
Yeah, it happens to be on Independence. And I'll run down to McAlpine Greenway, go through the Greenway, come back up on Independence. I don't do that. Don't do what I do because it is dangerous. I
feel like that's a motivational statement, like a motivational quote. The trail's in, but the road does not.
Yes.
The road just keeps going. You can go. So not too long ago, I dropped Linda off on the Saturday. I parked up by Target up Midtown, and I got out of the car. I was gonna run. I first started going to Freedom Park with when you guys were there. When Rob was there, so we did some stuff over there at Freedom Park. But that day, I parked over at Midtown, got out of the car, looked up. I see Uptown. I said, you know what? I'm just going uptown. So I just run uptown. Went up past all the steakhouses.
277.
Right there with 74.
That's right. By hook or by crook, I made it uptown, and it was cool. Everybody's a hustle and bustle uptown in the morning, and I'm running through the streets up there. It was awesome.
Straight down the median.
That's right. And whether it's the halal cart guy, fist bump that dude and keep running, or we'll say hello, or you see people, you're making eye contact. I love that. I'd much rather do that. I'd rather do that than be on a trail, but I do prefer road running, but I like McAlpine Creek.
Yeah.
There's some other ones around town too that are great, but those are the two things that I really.
If you guys know Randy, you know he likes to run. He's always out there doing his thing. He's shuffling down the road. One of my favorite stories of Randy running is when we went. Was it West Virginia or Virginia for the Spartan
we
race?
went to both. One was in Virginia, one was in West Virginia.
The one that you almost died.
I think that was West Virginia.
West Virginia.
I left my soul in West Virginia.
We went to West Virginia for a Spartan race, and then we're gonna dive into this episode. I have to say this.
This is classic.
We're driving up. We have a group. We're gonna stay the night, the whole gambit, and it's up in the mountains. And we all know ahead of time it's gonna be quite a race.
It's gonna be brutal.
And so we take off running. We've got some beast out there that just take off. Randy's running. I think there's probably 8 or 10 of us going, and everybody just finds their own person to run with. And so Randy's just running his race. We get done with this race, and it's terrible. You get done with the race, and Randy is nowhere to be found. We are 4 hours into this race, and we all go shower off with the hoses and then come back, and we're standing at the finish line. We leave somebody behind just in case he runs by. No go. We don't know where he is. And then we wait, and then we're like, well, maybe he's in the medical tent. And so we go check the medical tent, and my favorite moment is whoever checked that came back, and they just have this look on their face, and they were like, yeah. So I asked him if this guy that came in here named Randy is bald, and did he come in here? And he's like, well, yeah, I think somebody just got airlifted out of here. what did you say his name was? His name's Randy. Was that his name? And he's like, yeah, I think so. He comes back and we're like, Randy, we killed Randy. What happened on the trail?
So that was one of the best experiences I've ever had working out or running. So that was the best. So we get there, we're hyped, just like you said, and we're going. And I was training. We were training. We were doing all this stuff. And Matt Crandall, I was with Matt and his wife,
the beast,
Cassie, right? And they just were bolting. And I'm trying to. My whole purpose with Rob's workouts and stuff is try to keep up with these young punks that are out there. So I'm trying to keep pace. And I really underestimated the mountains, not even hills, the mountains of West Virginia. And so I'm running, and about 8 or 9 miles in, there was my body said lights out, and we're done. So I just kind of got to that portion where there was a body of water where you had to swim, and my body hit the ground, and my arms were moving, but nothing else. And Rob and the group came; they're leaving, I think. And one of the things people said where you have to, I kept seeing people with mustard. I'm like, what's the deal with the mustard? But the mustard was used for cramps.
Right.
My whole body went into one full-on cramp. And I just got hit in the face with mustard packets, and I was down in mustard, and I got able through the water, and I made my way down to a pasture, and there was an ambulance there, and the doors were open. There was nobody around, so I dead leg crawled across a field into the ambulance, and I just laid in the ambulance for about an hour, for about 45 minutes or an hour, and I crawled out of it, and I couldn't walk, and I thought, I can't complete this race. I'm going to have to give up. So I started to make my way. I crossed the line and got off the track. And I stopped. I said, if I don't complete this, Rob, I'll never live it down. I thought Rob's going to, I'll never live it down. So I turned around, laid on the ground for a minute and tried to stretch. And this woman came, this older woman came by. She said, oh, you look like you need some help. She dumped some like salt tablets near me. And there's a couple of packets of mustard. I downed them, and I got up like Super Mario, and I just took off. I took off running, and it was painful, but I'll never forget coming around. I think the tire flip might have been one of the last things, and this dude was trying to help me because he saw I was having trouble. I was breaking down, and this dude, this big dude came over and grabbed the tire. I said, no, leave it. Like that. I said, don't touch it.
He says it in his Arnold Schwarzenegger voice.
Get away. Get away. and I everything I could mustered up. I just, I flipped that tire over and I made my way to the finish line. And when I jumped, I don't even know if I jumped the flames. I think I just Burning Man ran through the flames, and I got on the other side, and there's Rob and a bunch of people just cheered me on, and I was just like, thank the Lord, like a champion. I ran across there, but I said to Rob, I think I left a part of me up on that, on that mountain, but it was really an awesome time. I would do that again. That was a blast. Yeah, it was all in. I think it was like 15 miles, right? It was from start to finish.
Yeah, I think it's 12 to 14 is the beast, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and that was, I mean, even if it was 10, those mountains, like, they don't account for the vertical gain.
But Meredith, I come back, and these dudes just like they came out of a shower, and there's no shower. There's a hose and the power washer. You get hosed off like a
a prison inmate.
Yeah, exactly. And I come out, they're gleaming, they're drinking, this one's having the beer, they got they're eating, and I'm just, it was hours later, like SpongeBob, 3 hours later. That's what it was. And here I come, shuffling across the finish line. But it was the best experience, man.
Have you done a Spartan race, Meredith?
No, Michael has. My husband has. Oh. So I've attended one. I've watched the jumping over the fire and the going in the mud underneath. The is there like a throwing of a spear?
There's a spear.
Mm-hmm. It's all kinds of Atlas ball, all that's there's all kinds of stuff that's great. We had a blast. It's really
I just wish I could be I always wish this, but I wish that I could be like in Randy's head. Like, does he, because in the span of that story we've used SpongeBob, Arnold Schwarzenegger, who else? There was somebody else in there, I think.
There was the little old lady that...
Oh, yes, her.
Yeah,
like, I'm wondering in your head, do these people, do these things show up as you're going through, or is that not till later that part kicks in?
No, this is I live in a continuous Seinfeld episode in my brain. That's what's happening. Anytime something goes on, I'm conscious of it. I'm like, is this happening right now? I can't believe this is happening. And I'm thinking that when I'm in these scenarios, whether I'm interacting with somebody or even like I was telling the guys, I was running one day and I passed an old woman. She was carrying bags from Harris Teeter. She's walking from Harris Teeter, trying to get home. And I passed her. I got Morris-Jenkins hoodie on. I got the hat. I'm running, and it's just cold. It's like rainy. So I passed her. I said, "Man, she needs help." So I turn around and I go busting. And Mark said I look like a straight up hoodlum gangster is what I look like, because I had the hoodie on, I had the hat, and sweating profusely. And I ran back towards her and I got in front of her and turned around. I said, "Ma'am, let me take your bags." And she said, "No." And she just turned and bolted. And I was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Why are you?" And I'm thinking, why did this just happen? And she just bolts towards a commercial building, a parking lot. And I said, "I know you don't live there." And I'm like, "Let me help you."
As you're chasing her, as you're saying all this.
Give me your bags.
I just want to carry them to your house. That's all.
Where do you live?
Exactly. Someone's like, didn't you see what that looked like? In my head, I was like, no, I was just trying to help her. But as she's walking away, I'm like, what just happened? But yeah, I constantly see that. I have a show going on, I think, in my brain like 24 hours a day.
I think that's why we love you, Randy.
Yeah,
I do.
We love you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think Linda, like I said, Linda, I can tell these stories all the time, and she's like stone cold, not laughing. She's like, "It's not funny. It's not funny at all." I'm like, "No, it was. Believe me, it was funny."
It's funny for you, but she's like, "I'm married to you." And
yeah,
this
she
is what I have to deal
experiences
with.
this all day, every day, and to her, it's just like, "Nah, I've heard them all."
Randy kicks open the door and takes off running across the parking lot. "I'm going to help this lady."
Exactly. But yeah, there's always, because I think I have a good sense of humor, but my sense of humor is probably like a middle school child, because I laugh at a lot of stuff. And there's a time to be serious, of course, but I find in my life, laughter has always been
It's
there.
always present. Yeah. And I know anybody that walks past yours and Mark's office down there know exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
Randy told me the other day that he was low crawling, dead-legged across the floor. And I mean, I've known Randy for such a long time that I'm like, doesn't surprise me in the least. It's Tuesday at that point. You've had a lot of history here at Morris-Jenkins, and somebody that's made a big impact is Dewey. And normally on our little episodes, you've listened to it, we read from the Dew's news, but you being in the departmental meetings and hearing from him, I'm curious, is there something that Dewey said over the years or have taught you or something that's just struck you that's always stuck with you all this time?
There's so many things that I've heard. When I crossed the threshold here at Morris-Jenkins, my mind was opened up. And before we talked about this, I think yesterday. Where you just do something for a living, you just do this job, and you focus on that, and you go home. And when I came here, I did the job, but I was given a chance to open your mind and really take in a lot of new things. So one thing that I've heard over and over again, and from the first time I heard it, I thought, that's incredible. That's us. That's me. But it was, let me get this right. It was, a company will only grow as large as the key people representing it. And that hit me. It stuck with me all these years. You can go back through, if you kept notes from, if I had my notebooks, I was forced to throw them out. Brandon Anderson made me dump my office one time, and all the notebooks went. Yes. Because he said, "That's it. You don't need to hold on to these things," and he's right. But that was probably in the notebook from the beginning, and it's so true, because we're learning, we're growing, we're running this company, and we're part of the culture. And as I grow, you can help someone else grow, and it's just amazing what happens here. But we are, the growth that the company has is directly related to that statement.
Mm-hmm.
So that goes on forever.
Yeah.
Just like the streets, it just doesn't end.
The roads never end. I know you've heard that before,
Yeah.
Meredith. Yeah.
Yeah, we talk about that often in the classes that we do. Is, if the minute that we stop growing as individuals, as a company, then we also talk about who's Morris-Jenkins' biggest competition, or who's the biggest threat to Morris-Jenkins, and the answer to that question, in my opinion, is us. We're the only people who can stop this machine. That's so right. I think that quote kind of speaks to that, is that when we focus on our growth and what we can offer our customers and each other, then we are the people that are going to keep growing ourselves and this company.
Yeah, and that makes me even think the importance for the individuals, regardless if you're the quote-unquote key people or not, you have a responsibility to continue to grow yourself all the time. Like you have to do it, knowing that we're going to rot from the inside out. It's going to be from the inside that we fail. So I feel like that responsibility falls on our shoulders, and it's cool that that's stuck with you for all this time. How long have you worked here now?
So I started in 2007, so I believe this was 17 years this October. Yeah, and it's been incredible. I cannot wait. Every time, 5-year, a plaque, 10-year, 15. Jonathan, I just saw the big ones. I just look forward to that, not just for the time, but just being part of something for so long. It's just awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What do you think, thinking of that statement, thinking of Randy 17 years ago and Randy now, if you could pick out one, or maybe there's multiple, the ways that you've grown the most?
That's a great question, and there's, I was a fixer. I was a straight-up fixer, of equipment. When I came here, I thought, I'm 17 years commercial, industrial, refrigeration service, and I would always humble. But when I came here, I thought, man, I should be a shoo-in, for what we do. But I wasn't, because I was fixing things all day long and not looking at anything else. I wasn't really having I was having conversations all day. I'd make friends all over town, with customers and stuff like that. But I wasn't looking at the bigger picture. How can I provide options? Can I look at anything else? I was doing what commercial service technicians do, and I didn't change that when I first got here. I fixed the problem and I left. And seeing the awesome technicians, the great technicians that I started with, and along the way, I've learned so much. I've grown in that way to say, it's not about the machine. It's not. I can fix the machine. I'm not even worried about that. But it's about the relationships, and that's probably for me it is the biggest thing that impacted me. Like, I was in shock when I first got here. Like, man, I can't believe it. I need to. How are these guys doing this, and I'm doing this, and I didn't see that duct system. I didn't see that. I didn't see the indoor air quality portion. So it opened up. It's like putting a different set of glasses on. Mine were a little clouded, and I put this other set on, and I could see now. But it took me a little bit, but I could see now. And I was opened up to all the other great things that I was missing, and I could help with. And it's just a different seat in the stadium. My paradigm changed for sure. Mm-hmm. And that goes on that continues, that goes in anything. Once you grab that, and it's like the Matrix, once you see it, it's like, oh, I got it now, and then you can help somebody else see it. Mm-hmm. And I have that conversation with people that come in here from other companies. They've experienced what I've experienced, and they get here and they're on kind of that same road, and you give them that experience that I had, and it's like, okay, and they can hopefully help them, widen the vision.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it sounds like even through this whole process, it sounds like people have always been at the forefront of your mind, these experiences, and they've had a big impact on you and how you conduct yourself, no matter if it's at home or if it's at work. It seems like it's always been that underlying thing for you throughout your life.
It has. Whether I'm at work or not, I always want to help somebody. That's just my makeup. And my dad's the same way. I was just saying yesterday to somebody, I don't know if maybe it was Mark, but I don't know if it's just in me, or if it's what I've seen, from my childhood. My dad would always be that way, but I just want to help. I always wanted to help somebody. Made me feel better. To help somebody makes me feel good to see somebody take something and run with it, and it makes them better or helps them. That's why the troubleshooting portion is like fits me like a glove, because when you can help somebody towards the answer or help them see something, and they get it, to me it's like the best thing ever.
Yeah.
It's and that just goes. It's just who I am before I came to Morris-Jenkins. This platform just helps me. It just magnifies it. Just it's like 100 times over. You're allowed to do that. I can do that here.
Yeah.
So.
And it doesn't surprise me, as long as you've worked here, the position that you're in now, and how many people you help day to day, whether it be the employees, the technicians that need help. It blows my mind how many times I hear a technician say, yeah, I called Randy and I was having this problem with this really strange unit I've never seen before. He's like, yeah, is it a DNZ?
Yeah.
The surprise on their face. And they're like, yeah, that's what it is. And he didn't even have to look at anything, and he knew exactly what to say. I mean, the technical side is one piece, Randy, but the amount of emotion and energy that you put into the relationships has impacted so many people. And I know I can say the same thing for myself, but you've truly found a position here that just allows you to be who you are and thrive and make a massive impact.
And I appreciate that, but that is the goal for me. I have found and you know what? Everyone here has put me in a position to be at my best, and do what I love to do. Nobody's trying to, push me around to where it's something I don't want to do. If you see where I'm good at this or good at that, that's why you don't see me in the accounting department. You're not going to see me up there. I don't belong in there, or the kitchen. I shouldn't be in the kitchen. But when it comes to this, yes, I've been put in a position where I can work to my best, and the equipment and all that, and the technical side, that comes with time. If I've been doing this my whole life. I'm 52 years old. I started when I was 18. I got to know something. I picked up a couple of things along the way, some jokes included. I put in my pocket. It's just some zingers. But that's just comes from experience. If you see the same things over and over again, whether it's a DNZ, YZB, 58 STA, all these guys, they know it too, but I've seen it so many times that you know which one, or the model or something like that. So when somebody new to the industry, when you start rattling off numbers like Ricky Crenshaw, it will spit out a part number before you even get the words out of your mouth. He'll come to you like predicting what you need already, because he knows this stuff. He's been doing this a long time. So that's part of being, I think, a professional, where you come through and and you retain and you can remember the scenarios, and you get beat by something one time, but you put it in your pocket and you remember it, and that goes in your not a Rolodex, but it's your drawer full of diagnosis and experiences, and it's there for you to reference. And that's part of being a professional. You can be better tomorrow once you get beat down. You got to remember that, and you can share that with people.
Do you feel like there's some advice that you can give somebody, if they were to hear this today, on how to find that thing? Like for you, the technical side, like you said, comes with years of experience and time. That comes in time. But one of your talents, not only what we're going to talk about today, but you just have it, is empathy. You can get underneath the surface level and find people where they are and help them. You're a fantastic listener, and I know over time you found that. But do you have any tips on how other people can find that thing that's their talent, that's that God-given gift that they can use in their day-to-day?
That's another great question. When there's some things are born into you, and God-given things that are in there. That's one of mine. I like to listen. I like to talk too, but and that's something I've learned over the years. Somebody told me one time, God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You need to zip it. So. But I do, I like to listen, and I like to help people. If and being in a place where you can focus on that and be put in the position to do that every day, it helps. So I would think if you found something that you really like to do, and you're doing it anyway, I don't know. I mean, it's just, I think it's just you have to be aware of what you're good at, and focus on those things, and not try to. I've passed the point of trying to be good at everything. I'm not going to waste my time doing something that I struggle with, or doing something that frustrates me all day long. And not that I want to sidestep getting to the bottom of something. Like I don't particularly care for. It's tedious to work through certain service calls. It's tedious to work through something because it takes a lot of time. You have to be patient. I'll do it, but if I know I'm great at other things, I like to focus on that. Like math is not my thing. I'm not going to go home and study.
Oh Lord, don't get me started on math.
I'm not going to go home and try to figure that all out right now. It's just not it's not a talent of mine. Mm-hmm. I focus on the things that I'm good at, that I can help with the most. Kind of get the most out of certain things because I'm good at them, I guess. Mm-hmm. Or I don't know. I guess I think that's what I'm trying to say is focus on the things that you're good at, and stay away from things that drag you down, even mentally, or put you in a place where it's going to be sour.
Yeah.
That kind of goes against what probably like conventional schooling may be.
Yeah.
Because they, you want you to focus on the things that you're having trouble with.
Yeah. For
me, it would be math. If you put me in a room all day trying to figure out like calculus and I'm going high, I should say algebra, I'm going to be frustrated. Yeah. And I may not have as many jokes as I normally have. But I think that's what you have to focus on. Just find what you really love, find what you're passionate about, and stick with that.
Yeah.
And don't try to be everything, that you really can't be.
Yeah. I do know something that we talk about often here is focusing on your strengths and not spending all your time trying to fix your weaknesses, which is counterintuitive. You would think that I need to work on my weaknesses so I can be more well-rounded.
Yeah.
I know for me, even growing up, back in the day when I started working out and later I got into CrossFit, it was like you need to be a well-rounded athlete to be good at it. And it made perfect sense to me. And I remember even when I jumped on the management team here, it was like, we're not going to focus so much on your weaknesses. Mm-hmm. You just need to become aware of them when they pop up. And I was like, that don't make no sense. Like
it goes against conventional wisdom.
Yeah. I was like, I need to fix that hole in my game.
Yeah.
But something that has always stuck with me is work hard on your strengths and you will be world class in those things. If you spend all your time on your weaknesses, you'll only become marginally better in those, and you'll still be frustrated, and your strengths never really grow.
Yeah, it takes away that time you spend trying to fix those weaknesses, takes away from the time you could have spent working on your strengths, which would have taken you from like pretty good to excellent if you had just used that time to work on the thing that was already there to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And one thing, Randy, and I know, Meredith posed the question to you, hey, what's one thing that you want to talk about today? What's something that means a lot to you that you just absolutely love and it's been on top of your mind? And I know that you chose empathy, and that's what we want to talk about today with you and just pick your brain. And I want to hear what Meredith has to think about this, because there's been we even before we started today, we usually do like a 30-minute meet beforehand, and all of a sudden it was like pow pow, I saw this, I saw that. And so when we look at empathy, we have our own thoughts on what it is. What do you think empathy is, Randy?
I think that's really taking a second to put yourself in the shoes of someone else and really feel what they're going through and relate to what they're feeling in that moment. So you can be compassionate, you can be, you can reason, you can find that patience to listen. Really, you can, if you put yourself in their shoes, everybody's going through something, right? And we all have gone through something. And when you get someone, whether it's a customer or a technician or your neighbor or somebody, to be able to help, you really need to do that. And for me, that's because I do care. I care about everybody, and I want to put myself in that position so I can really hear, not just give them FaceTime and just try to get to the end. I really need to hear what you're saying. So I'm like, man, you put yourself right in their shoes. You ever see the movie Ghost, where it's just like, whoosh, boom, you put yourself right in their body. I'm not doing that, I promise.
The mental image that always comes to the mind is the clay scene.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not doing that at all. I'm not doing that.
Imagine that would be your call with your customer.
Now, if somebody had a wheel and I was there, I might try it. But I've been at a house where people have drum set and guitar and bass, and I've been jamming at people's houses on the clock.
That doesn't surprise me in the least.
Nope.
Because it's funny. It's fun. But that's what I would. That's my take on it. You really have to want to help somebody. You really want to put yourself in their shoes and hear it and feel it from their perspective.
Yeah.
To try to get things going in the right direction.
Yeah. Do you think that, and this is a question for both of you, one that Rob and I talked a little bit about, do you think that we are all born with the same amount of capacity for empathy? And if we are or aren't, can we grow that capacity?
I don't think we're all born with the same amount, because I know plenty of people are like, nope, I'm not going there. I'm not going to do that. I ain't got time for that. Mm-hmm. But so no, I don't think everyone's got the same capacity for that. And even when it comes to patience, there's some patience all day, and some are like about 3 seconds, and that's it. As far as being better at that, you could, I think you can tweak that. I don't know how much, how much you could really be better at it, but I know you can improve for sure if you're conscious of it. If you really, if you're conscious about your state.
Sorry, I was really trying.
We've got the sniffles up in here.
I'm so sorry.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my PTO in right now. Okay, I'm out.
We've
everybody.
got the door shut. We're all doomed at this point.
I was really trying to wait until you were done so I could clear my throat and then tell Corey to take it out. I'm sorry, Corey.
That's the blooper reel.
This live.
That's the blooper reel right
real.
there. That's funny.
Real.
So sorry.
But I think people can be better, because some people aren't aware. Some people just aren't aware how they're coming across, and if somebody lets you know, it's like a blind spot. If you don't know it's there, something's there. You're not conscious of it. You're not aware of it. But if somebody comes up and tells you, hey, you really can do this or that, or maybe you can approach this a different way, so you can at least come across a little bit more empathetic, or caring.
I think you have people that are more logical in thought, and so. I know we talk about DISC a lot, and some people it's like, logically this doesn't make sense. I don't know why we have emotions tied into this right now, right? You have some people that are like that, but I know personally I've had CSRs. On the phone you've got to have empathy for people, and to your point, Randy, knowing that there's such a wide range of people that have varying capacities of empathy or for empathy. I had one in particular that comes to mind, and she struggled with it. Like, she couldn't hear her tone, and then when somebody's like, oh my gosh, I've got water spraying out of my walls, and they're losing their mind, and she's like, okay, what's your address? And I'm like,
you're right. Next.
and I completely got where her mind was going with that, and could appreciate it, but I'm like, you gotta add a little bit in there. And she's like, well, I mean it is what it is. I'm just trying to help her. I'm like, I know, but they want to hear it. People have got to feel that, and if you can feel along with somebody and you're right there with them, they're like, we're in this together, and we're going to take care of this. It makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I think I can definitely see that. I do feel like I have a fair amount of capacity for empathy, but I could also see myself in that position going directly into problem-solving mode. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like,
totally.
I have a momentary feeling of like, oh my gosh, there's water spraying out. That's terrible. I can't imagine how panicked you must be right now. I can see myself completely skipping over that statement and saying, okay, we can get somebody out there to help you as soon as we can. What's your address? Like, I could see myself doing the exact same thing. You skip over that part and you immediately go into problem solving mode.
Yeah.
I think sometimes there's a time for that. If it's like, if it's literally that, or there's a fire going on or something major, you may do that and kind of come back around, but there's a time where that's, if there's not a literal fire, but if there's something burning and that we got to get to it, you need to be aware and be empathetic and all that, but there's times where it's like we need to skip and we need to get the call booked and whatever, or address whatever's going on, and then come back around. We can revisit all that.
But it also makes me think, when you're in a role or position where you have to use empathy all the time, can you run out of it? Can you reach that limit where you're like, I've done it so many times that your empathy bank account per se runs empty?
I can only, thinking of myself, because I feel bad in whatever the scenario is. I don't feel like I'd run out. It's how it comes across sometimes is maybe a little bit better than others, because you are like, hey, we're human. Sometimes, whether it's here or out in the real world, when you're out there, sometimes you get caught off guard, and you're not prepared for that. What's going on right there? I can remember a number of times you try, and it's like the scenario kind of turned on a dime, and it's like, oh, empathy turned into me running away, scared out of my. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I can't help this one. but out in the real world, out in the wild. But I can't see myself ever running out. I can't see myself ever being like the tank being empty, of that. I don't know. I'd have to be a different. I'd be a completely different person. I can't see it.
I think it goes back to what you were saying earlier about that plays to your strength. Yeah. It's not everything's going to be perfect all the time, but that's a roadblock that you'll always be able to overcome because that is part of who you are.
Now when I get home, and when we get home, just like maybe those skills, because I'm at my most comfortable. Yeah. Maybe those skills are tucked in my back pocket for a minute. With and Linda, thank God she's not on this with us, because she'd be calling me out. But I may have less empathy sometimes because you're dealing with your family in the moment. I always have it, but you're like, if someone's feeling maybe under the weather, I'm like, well, you can get that yourself. I gotta go, and it's just not because I don't care or anything like that, but it's because I don't know, it's a different relationship.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about that in Lunch and Learns and Tech Talks, that a lot of times we utilize our bank account, whether it's our empathy bank account or our patient's bank account or whatever bank account we're pulling from. We pull from it so much during the day that by the time we get home, sometimes the bank is we're overdrawn. Yeah. Or we just don't feel like we're trying to give the most to these people that we are supporting on the day-to-day, that we don't have much left to give in the way of support when we get home in the afternoons, which is not necessarily what it should be, but a lot of times we have to put some effort into those afternoon interactions with our families.
I do think the communication side on that's important. One of my favorites, I know our favorites, Brene Brown was talking about marriage, and she says, when you come home at the end of the day after work and you have whatever's left over, she says, she offers that marriage is not 50-50, and that to think that it is, you'd be crazy. Because she says sometimes you come home and you have 20% left. You're done. And she says that her and her husband, she'll come home, and if she's at 20, then he's like, I got the 80. Like, to help take care of the family and make sure that your family members, your kids or whoever is getting the 100% care from the parents. But then she also says there's some days that you come home and it's like, I got 10, and the other person says I got 20. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she says, and I can envision this conversation going on between me and Susie of like, I got 20, I got 10, and then she says to come up with like a battle plan of how we're going to serve the family today. The fact that we're both, we're jacked up at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. You feel battle torn at the end of the day. You're done.
Yeah. Like that robot uptown. Sometimes I get home and I'm like docked and I'm going to sleep. So I feel like I'm like,
are you a Roomba?
You ever see that robot uptown wandering around the bank?
Yes.
And it docks and it charges up.
What are you talking about?
Yes.
What is this robot?
There's a robot uptown. What bank is it? Bank of America or somebody or whatever it is. But you can go and see this robot. It's a big robot.
Is Skynet taking over right now? Yeah. What are you talking about?
Right. But it kind of monitors I was going to say it walks around, but it doesn't walk. It rolls around. And then when it needs to charge, it's like, click, charging. And it goes to sleep. So you can walk by. And sometimes I walk in the house. I'm like, click, charging. And I'm done. I don't want to say anything. But I can be better for sure. And I always... I take it for granted that Linda's going to understand. I get home and she's going to understand that my day was taxing and whatever, and there's stuff to do. But I just need to shut down for a little bit. But and sometimes it's not balanced, and so I can definitely be better there. I need to be better like that, because with the kids, for us, when the kids are out, the kids are out of the house right now. Everybody's gone. Most of the time, and we're there by ourselves staring at each other, and I think I can do this now, but really, it's, if you're married, you have a partner, whatever it is, it really isn't the right thing to do, to just get home and shut down like the robot. I should be better, and be prepared to take up for that too.
Yeah, and I do know on the other side of that is you need to recognize when your charging battery gets a little low, that I do have to go home at some point and still leave a little bit in the tank left over to be able to give your partner something, right?
Yeah.
And so I do talk about in the Tech Builder and Build a Plumber class, when we talk about pillars of state, of if you imagine, you have a matchbook and there's 5 matches left in there. If you imagine a match being a moment of extreme focus or energy, like somebody cuts you off in traffic and you're angry all the way into work. I can see Shallon doing that. I feel like I always pick on her.
I know.
She's not here to
Poor
defend
thing.
herself. It is too bad. But she knows it's true. But if she, you lit that match at that moment, you got 4 left. And then maybe you have a customer that it's a challenging call or whatever it is. You use another match. How many matches do you save for your family when you get home? Or do you just give them the empty matchbook at the end? And it's like, I'm done, right?
Yeah, and that wouldn't be fair. It's really not. That's not fair.
Yeah.
And all of us here, out there, technicians, all of us, we all go through that same thing. It's taxing, no matter what any other industry. It's taxing to be at work. I don't know many people that go to work and come home like charged up. You just spent everything that you have. Doing the best you can and trying to take care of everybody. And you get home and you're kind of spent. So yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I don't want to show up with an empty matchbook. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, just the awareness of it. Just the awareness. I've used all my matches and being able to communicate that in of itself is a step in the right direction. Of that this is the place that I'm at and I need a minute. Just communicating that instead of coming home and being silent or losing your top on somebody. Like, if you could just come in and communicate that, then that's at least a step in the right direction.
How do we gather that awareness or gain that awareness to know that you're at that point?
Self-reflection.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, your drive time. That drive time on the way home, or just being aware, like you said, knowing that you're in that spot.
Yeah.
And not taking it out on everyone that's there.
But I feel like that can be so hard, though. I know we talk about self-reflection and being aware of your thoughts and feelings and emotions, but I mean, I know we've talked about like 19 times the hamster wheel. Like if you're in the hamster wheel going every single day and you come home and you've consistently gave your kids or your significant other the empty matchbook and they're frustrated because they're not getting, you're the shell of your former self. Do you just find yourself getting annoyed that they're annoyed? And can you catch it that I'm the one that's doing this? I'm the one that's showing up like that. How do I fix that? And I think that's the challenging and troubling piece, is recognizing when it's happening, not just when some rando gives you feedback of like, maybe you don't need to show up like that, or maybe you need to go home, or you need to like save some energy. Work's always going to be there, or whatever it is, to catch it in the moment. I've found personally for me, it's hard to catch myself in the moment while it's happening to change it. One thing I'm working on right now is the good old Dale Carnegie. Is it rule number 1?
Sure is.
Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Meredith and I were talking about this earlier, and I've been trying it for like a week now, and Lord have mercy, is it freaking hard to not criticize, condemn, and complain. Like I will be sarcastic about stuff and just try to poke fun and like try to channel my inner Randy and be positive all the time, but dadgummit, if sometimes I'm like, I'm about to say something, you know what that is? And then I have to, maybe I'll just keep that to myself, and I'm going to sip my coffee here. If I don't have anything good to say, I'm going to keep it to myself. But catching yourself when it's happening, I'm having a whole awakening right now of how challenging
that is. Hard. That's very hard, because you're in the moment, right? In the moment, it's tough to do that. You know, I've fallen down plenty of times, you know, because you're my kids, they know how I am. They know I'm a certain way. I'm positive about everything. I'm gonna look on the bright side and try to look at everything like that, right? And not get caught up. But we were fixing the car, my daughter's car, and a ratchet, something my brother gave me. It's a snap-on ratchet. He gave it to my son. He's who I was using it, but the thing fell. I wasn't paying attention. It fell through the car, through the engine portion, and into a bucket of antifreeze underneath the car, and the words came out of me, and I was just like, and my son was like, "Oh, like you're slipping," but I was in the moment. And I let it. I was getting beat down. I was letting what was happening affect me, and I started to. But I caught myself, and the shame. At the moment, I'm like, I had to stop, because he was there. I was like, you know what? I need to stop doing that. Let's just focus up, straighten up, huddle up, get back and square up, and then go and realize I can't let that one thing get me. But you have to be aware of it, or else you'll just skip down that road. You could skip down that road for all day, you know what I mean? Let it bother you. So being aware of where you are and having the ability to stop and correct, that's the toughest thing sometimes. Especially if you're like home, if you're like in a relationship with somebody and you want to, that time comes where you're both like, you know, arguing or whatever it is. It could be a disagreement, whatever. You can hold on to that all day long, or you can just break and just say, no, it's not worth it. Let's just go a different road, you know, whatever it is. But you have to be conscious about it, or it can just eat you up.
To go along with what you were saying yesterday in the Lunch and Learn, it makes me think about a lot of the things we talked about during that class was, and Rob and I don't know if we haven't done a podcast yet on living into your values. Put that on the list.
Put it on the list.
So, but I think it's like, you know, we all have that feeling when we're not living into our values and being the person that we want to be. Like when you dropped that and it fell and you had this moment of like, blah, and it just all came out, immediately you felt like, wait a second, that's not me. Sometimes we feel it immediately and sometimes we feel it later, but I think we all have had that feeling of like, that's not how I wanted to behave in that moment. And I don't think we can always control our emotions in that moment. Yeah. We're human. But I do think we can do exactly what you're saying. We can step back and we can say, okay, can we regroup?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think that's a hard thing to do. I've found myself, so I have a 13-year-old. Could probably get some tips from you, Randy, on a 13-year-old girl. And so, you know, in the moment, sometimes my emotions get the better of me and I might handle a situation or say something that I wish that I could take back. And so I recognize later, because I feel guilt, I feel regret, I feel some feeling that makes me feel like that's not who I want to be. It's not the mom I want to be. It's not the role model I want to be. And I think we have to be big enough to go back to even our 13-year-old daughter and say, hey, I didn't handle that the way that I should have. That's not the kind of mom I want to be to you. That's not the kind of person I want to model for you. This is how I should have handled that. And I think that it's actually, I think it's sometimes a little bit harder to even do that with the people we have the closest relationships with. Like if I've said something to Michael that I don't feel really good about it, especially if we were in an argument about something, then I think it might be more difficult for me to go back to Michael, which is really weird, and say, hey, I'm sorry about how I acted. That's not who I want to be. I could come to either one of you and say that without a thought. Yeah. I could come back to you and say, I didn't handle that interaction correctly. Can I redo that?
It's because she doesn't care about it. That's what it is.
It's just weird.
Why is that?
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird to me that maybe that's my own thing, but it feels different. Maybe it's because I'm trying to kind of stand my ground on whatever it is. Maybe we were having this disagreement over, but I think that's interesting. But I think that is a whole lot. It's okay when you drop the whatever that wrench was you were talking about.
Everybody out there, the Snap-on ratcheting wrench. Oh boy, it's a big dollar, big ticket.
Apparently not anymore.
Thank God it's still working. I took it apart and all that stuff. But my brother gave it.
You took it apart?
Yes, took it apart. Long story. Sprayed it up, prayed on it. Lit the garage, and I sent the picture to my son like days later with it running, and I was like, sweet, because it's a
prices averted.
It was like a gun
battery, battery Snap-on. My brother Bob gave that to Brandon, and I was like, I'm using this today. This is my tool for the day. And it's a big ticket item right there. So, but I got it. It's working. I sent it to my son, so everything's great.
Yeah.
Bob's none the wiser.
Unless he listens
to the podcast.
Sorry, Bob. No, it's working. Yeah, don't stop sending stuff.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's okay to be human and to have the reaction in the moment. But I think exactly what you were saying about taking a second to step back and let me get back to who I really. This is how I wish I would have handled that. I think that's okay too. Just having that awearness to do that.
That's the key. Yep, stopping for the second. And that is difficult. I'm with you with us here. We're all friends. My best friends are here. Everybody here, right? Since we moved down here, this is everybody I know. This is who we talk to and all these things. And I've done the same thing. It's easy for me to go back and say, hey, I handled this wrong. I do it myself here. This was wrong. I shouldn't have said this. Apologize, and we work those things out. That's part of who we are here. We address all those things. You don't want to stew about it, but at home it is. Relationships are. I don't know how we went from being. We were talking about
empathy.
We crossed the bridge and we're over here to relationships 101. But they blend,
sure.
Right? But everybody here goes home. And it's a stressful job. Everybody that's out there working, whatever you're doing, you get home and you try not to carry that over. But it is difficult. I'm guilty. I've done the same thing where I don't want to go to Linda and say I don't because I'm so mad about something or stewing about this, and it is difficult. But with the kids, I've done the same thing where it's easier for. I don't know why it is, but it's easier.
Yeah, I don't
know
what that is because I feel the same way if I have an argument with my wife or we're talking about something versus something that happens at work, that it's easier to talk to those people at work about it and fix it,
Yeah, let's just fix it now, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know we of course, we have our moments and we'll talk about it afterwards. And I know I've had to learn how to not fix it in the moment because I want to fix it right now. And then she needs more time to, process and register everything. Yeah. I just know we handle those things differently. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
What is it?
But
Mary?
I am glad to hear.
Fix it.
I am glad to hear that I am not alone in this room because I was going to ask Corey to take that part out too if I needed to.
No, we need to bring Michael in here next and just ask him the same question. Michael,
that would be funny. To have the. I always thought, years of doing this, right? I always thought because our partners, your spouse, whoever it is, we're all in the same boat, and if you listen, they all have the same complaint. We're home late, with this, that, we work late, we did this, and I thought we should have a support group for the spouses, right? But that is not good. That is not good. That will just get us deeper in trouble because they start talking and that's it. We're in trouble. We've gone out to dinner with people, our galas, all those things. As soon as those stories come out, he does the same thing. I'm like, stop talking about this.
I think that would be the kiss of death, right?
It would be. Not good. Not good. Not good at all. But there's but it goes for everybody that's here at Morris-Jenkins. It's dealing with the same things, and me 100%. I gotta be conscious of what I'm bringing home, whatever baggage it is. Try to keep it in the truck and be considerate of what's happening in Linda's day or the kids or whoever it is. I can be better at that for sure.
Yeah, I think we talked yesterday in the Lunch and Learn too about I think one of the reasons why it is hard for us to do this is because the easier route is to blame our spouse or to blame an outside circumstance.
It's not me.
Right. It's not me. So if it's not my problem, then I don't have to do anything to fix it. I told you guys yesterday in the Lunch and Learn, this goes back to why we should not have a spouse support group, because I use Michael for lots of examples in the classes that I do. But we talked about, I had the participants in yesterday's Lunch and Learn do what we call a life check reflection. And essentially, and this is an idea that our listeners can use as well, but you think about the different parts of your life and you essentially rate them, just like you would rate a company on a survey. 1 being, this is not fulfilling at all to me, and 4 being, this is the most fulfilled I've ever felt about this part of my life. And so one of the things on there is your significant other. So you rate your relationship with your significant other, 1, 2, 3, or 4. And the easier thing, if I rated my relationship with Michael lower, on the lower end, the easier thing to do would be to say that it's because Michael does this and Michael does that. But what I challenged them to do in the Lunch and Learn is to think about why you rated it and how you contribute to that rating, because you are the only person that you can make any changes to. I can't change who Michael is and how his brain works and how he handles things. That's something he has to work on. The only thing I can work on is how I'm contributing to that, because I'm foolish to think that if I'm rating our relationship on the lower end of that scale, that he is the only person to blame, because we're both in the relationship.
That's how that was supposed to go? Where's my paper? I think I drew a picture of Linda had arrows just pointing to her. No, I didn't do it. I'm joking.
No.
Throw that out, Meredith.
I think the life check is a really good tool when you really think about it, because the ownership of self in that whole thing is absolutely huge.
Yeah.
There's so much stuff you can't control. You can't make your spouse be better. You just be better.
I need you to be better.
That would not.
Because just imagine them saying the exact same thing back to you. Be better.
That statement would be the other side of that statement would be me waking up like 10 years later in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
What happened? What's this beard?
You rated me a 1. That's why. But
exactly,
the life check is huge. Rating those areas of your life and thinking, how can I affect and change these things? And was it the Snap-on? Snap-on you were talking about earlier. It sparked a thought, and it can be related to empathy, but also really anything. So when we look at some gentlemen, I don't know if you've ever heard of this guy. I know he's not well known. Jim Rohn.
Oh yeah.
I don't think anybody knows who he is.
I never heard of the guy.
He had this great clip I watched, and he was talking about the best advice he ever was given was to set a goal for yourself far and above what you feel like you could accomplish. So he said, for instance, say I want to be a millionaire, and set that goal for yourself. And we all know with goals, you want to break those things down into smaller little chunks. But he says, don't set the goal simply to become a millionaire. Set the goal for yourself for the person that you have to become that. And so, dropping the socket, the whatever it was, in the antifreeze, and that thing came out, it's like, that's not the person that I want to be. And that's okay in recognizing in the moment, but setting the goal for yourself in the long term of like, this is the person that I want to be. What steps do I need to take to get there? Mark and I know he'll send me little clips and little different things from the Daily Stoic and all that stuff. And that's one thing that I've tried to do in those moments is I dropped it in the antifreeze. It doesn't really mean anything. It really doesn't at the end of the day. I gotta clean it. It is what it is. Me having an outburst or being angry or whatever, it really doesn't matter any. It might make me feel good in the moment, but think about the long-term effects of continuing to live like that. These are the things that come out of my mouth when I'm upset, and it will carry over into your relationships of this is what comes out of my mouth when I'm upset. And so recognizing the person that I want to be in the long run is someone that has a level head, and if something bad happens, I think better when I'm more calm and knowing that the being ticked off about something isn't going to fix anything. In fact, it changes things. So you said dropping it in there, and it just spurred that thought from old Jimmy.
That's right. Yeah, I'm glad I can spark that for you.
I freaking love that clip. I was like, I had a little smoke coming out of my ears when I was watching that. It was good.
Yeah, that is. He's got a lot of great things to say for sure.
Yeah. So when we look at empathy, I just wanted to ask one more question about it. I know you've been on the management team for a while, and I'm curious, does empathy look different being on the management side of things as opposed to what it looks like, being on the front lines, being there with a customer all the time, like our technicians or our CSRs? Is there a difference between what that would look like?
For me, it's not. It's not. It's the same because the caring about what people are going through is the same for me across the board. Whether it's contact center, somebody calling down, or we have a question about this or that, or there's a situation, or you catch somebody in the break room and they're going through something and they're talking about something, or it doesn't matter. It's the same. I'm going to approach it, or at least I'm going to go into something like that or step into that with that the same way. Caring for somebody. I'm going to listen. I'm going to try to be the best listener the world has ever seen. Just really so they know. I care. I need you to know. When we were going through that, or when in the beginnings and everyone was masked up and you're still trying to convey a message to someone, I was like, you cannot see. I was like, oh man, you can't see how much I care. I'm covering my whole. I went to a customer one time. I had to put on 2 masks and a face shield, and then he sprayed me down at the door before I came into place. And I was like, first of all, I'm Lysoled up and whatever, and I get in there, I'm fogged over on my shield that he gave me. He gave me one of his shields, fogged up from the Lysol, and I'm thinking, you really can't see my eyes or anything. You can't even see the pain that I feel for you, But he couldn't see, and I was like, how am I going to convey this but it comes across in my voice, in the words that we use over the phone. I want to pour it through the phone so I care. I want you to know I'm here to help you. And I think whether it's customer, technician, another employee, whatever it is, I'm going to approach it the same way. It comes across the same way, I believe.
Yeah. Were you the one that ordered those masks that had the clear?
Yeah, so you can see my choppers. Yeah,
had the clear little hole in the front.
That's disturbing.
Those seem like such a good idea until you lick your lips and you're licking the plastic vinyl.
I think we need to attach a picture of Randy in one of those to the show notes for this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
A throwback.
All you can see is my choppers. It's disturbing. Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah, I think I was going to ask you this, but I think you've already kind of touched on it. If we were to give some tips for people who are trying to work on their empathy, you've mentioned listening.
Heavy listening.
Yeah.
And not the listening just to try to get me being a Yankee, and from I'm not even going to say it, from Jersey. I'm from Jersey, so we have David Smith once asked, the legend of David Smith. He asked me one time. He said, "How do you guys communicate like that?" I said, "Like what?" He goes, "You're talking over each other so fast, and it's like you're fighting to get the words out." And I didn't realize I was coming across like that, but I am. I would talk before you finish the sentence. I was talking over you because I'm listening, but I'm really trying to get my words out fast so you can hear me. And just being excited, about talking to somebody about something, but listening with the intent to understand what somebody's telling me, and so focus listening. If we're making eye contact and you can see it in my face, Rob is winking at me right now. But if you can see it in my face and I'm really concentrating on your words and your experience and what you have to say, that is going to chip away at that wall, or it's going to start to throw some water on the fire that's burning in front of you, whether it's here or anywhere.
Yeah.
So that is key. Listening is always definitely a key, but putting yourself in the state of mind, going in, preparing, like we prepare every single day for whatever you're getting into. If you know you're going into something that's going to be possibly could be rough. You need to prepare yourself. Hey, I know this person's already. If you're a technician going to a call, and you already can see it, customer's upset. Whatever it is, handle with care. Everybody's mad. Nobody likes that. But when you get there, I wouldn't be thinking of how I'm going to feel or worried about how they're coming at me. I'm thinking about how I'm going to respond to whatever's coming at, whatever they're going to say in a way that, and be prepared to be able to let them know I'm here to help. Because most of the time that is going to bring it down a notch. Think about out there in your life, right? Your life when you're out there, whether you're buying furniture, or you're at a restaurant, or you're at the car dealer, or wherever. You just drove through Autobell and the mirror's still inside the car wash, something. But people are going to come at, people generally have, it's kind of natural for people to come at you in a situation like that at a level 10 right now. Like, they're not expecting you to do anything. You're expecting to have to fight. And we're not like that. So for Morris-Jenkins, it's easy to go in and, know we're going to take care of somebody, but knowing that somebody, people are going to respond like that sometimes. So you have to be prepared for that going in, and just get ready to, just listen and be able to bring it down a notch, just not meet somebody at that, because that's, and I think we do a great job of that, because we're aware of these things, but being prepared for that scenario is a good one. Listening, be prepared for that, because you can expect that to happen sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know if it was you. I feel like it was, but I feel like I remember hearing you say on a phone with a customer that, hey, they're piping mad, they're hot, like they're coming at you, and it's like, no, your tone is great. It's no problem. We're going to get you taken care of. I just need to hear what's going on, and I promise you I'll get you taken care of. Like, just making that statement that we don't have to fight. It's I just want to hear what's going on. Made a big difference.
Because that's what people want. They want you to hear the story, what they've gone through. I just went through this. Imagine you didn't have heat for whatever, how many hours. You have little kids, you have days, whatever it is, waiting for a part. They want you to know it. They're feeling the pain. We're in the 70 degrees. Our office is about 89 degrees, and we're, except anywhere Shallon is, she's freezing cold. So she's in the Arctic region, and we're over there in the Bahamas. But when someone's going through that, that's their reality right there. And you want somebody to know it. So you can't be like, I know, you can't dismiss it. You have to be able to set the stage, like, we're going to take care of you. Of course we are.
Yeah, well, you do a good job of that.
I appreciate it.
Masterclass.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Randy took her to do a masterclass in de-escalating.
That's the next lunch and learn.
I have learned from the best in this industry it's ever seen right here at Morris-Jenkins. So everybody here does, I know we do a fantastic job. I'm learning every day. You hear things and you put them into practice, every single day, how to be better than we were yesterday. So, lifelong learner, Meredith. That's it. Mary.
Mary?
Meredith.
Meredith. It's Meredith and Mark. Mark.
Yeah.
Mark.
Who is that?
That is
Nick.
Mr. Nick Ellendime for Nickel and Dime Plumbing and Heating. Nick Ellendime. He comes around every once in a while. He's one of the characters that we have here at Morris-Jenkins. And actually, he's actually coming in right now. Here he is. Hey, what's up, Nick? Yeah, what's going on? Hey, Mary, good to see you. Good to see you.
It's Meredith.
Oh, excuse me. I'm so sorry, Meredith. I'm so sorry.
If you guys haven't experienced, what is it, Nick Ellendime? Nick Ellendime.
Yeah, that's what I said the first time. It's Nick Ellendime. Nickel and Dime HVACs. Yeah, that's right.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry I messed that up, sir.
Hey, it's no problem. Hey, you need something, fix it. You need something fixed, just call me. Hey, don't waste your time, call Nickel and Dime. I got jingles all day long.
Are they better than Morris-Jenkins jingles? I heard they're pretty good.
Yeah, I got a lawsuit with Morris-Jenkins for the jingles. I came up with them. Don't waste your time, call Nickel and Dime. Yeah. That's patented. Don't even try it, Rob.
So it would not, I'm so glad that came out, because this podcast would not have been complete without a visit from a character.
One of the characters, the many characters.
that is the other thing. I'm surprised it didn't. We're allowed to have some fun here, and just doing that, trying not to break character here is funny. It's funny. Run around the whole building, and most people don't. A lot of people don't know. Some people would come around the corner in the whole get up, and they're just like, "Hey, what's up, Rand?" No big deal. Like it's just another day. But some people, the tech builders, the new plumbers, and stuff like that, they're like,
no. They don't know who
"What's
you
this
are."
guy doing?
Yeah. All the years of you doing that has spurred so much dressing up around here. Whether it be with you, Jonathan dressed up, Brandon started dressing. Like you started the whole deal.
That was Brandon Anderson's idea from the beginning. He said we need to do this. He said it'd be great if we could do a character or have we'll do some training and we'll do it in character, like set the stage. And we should get a woman. I said, I'll do that in a minute. You know, he's like, you'll do that? I said, yeah, put the costume on, the whole get up. And we've done it over the years. Just have some fun. You know,
Linda gave you a look one time when you went into a thrift store? Do you have a size 13 in high heels?
I was in the corner trying to hide. Don't take this out of context. So because it's like a runaway train here, but I was looking for the accessories to the costume, and I was trying to find a size 12 women's pump.
And the look.
And she's like, "What are you?" I was like, "Just block for me, please." And I'm in uniform, number one, at the Marshalls. And
perfect.
Actually, it was another time I was there by myself. Marshalls. I'm trying all these shoes on, and there's people coming by, and I'm tossing them real quick because I don't want somebody to what's this dude doing over here? But yeah, that was for our famous Christmas ugly sweater contest. So that was the old lampshade outfit.
I remember that. Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
That was
it was a really good one.
It was great.
The amount of cat calls you got that day.
I did, yeah. I felt, I was feeling great that day.
You should have. I'm impressed.
Yeah, they said, "Look at the legs on this guy."
We may or may not take a picture of Randy with the face mask and maybe post one with the lampshade.
The lampshade. I wish I had pictures of that right now. Someone's got pictures, but that was fun. But no, the culture at Morris-Jenkins is so incredible. There's nothing like it out there anywhere, and we have so much fun, and I'm allowed to do that. You know, you let your, whether it's for whatever the occasion, if you go down, most managers in the trade, if you go down in an office and you open their cabinet, they will have proper manuals and instruction booklets and troubleshooting guides, and if you open mine, it's like candy and costumes and wigs and everything falls out of it, and it's just part of the fun. You know, I'm just ready whenever someone's ready. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, I got a squeaky squirrel out of yours for a demo one day. There was a road reflector in there. I needed that. I'm like, where did this come from? And you're like,
I can't even. We don't have enough time to even go into
there's
the road.
So much. We do, by the way. There's like bring this thing in for landing. We do have some questions for you, like rapid fire questions for you, giving absolute credit to Brene Brown. She does this in her podcast too. So we've got a couple questions for you.
Don't get me in trouble.
I mean, this completely on you.
Oh, you're right.
Okay, so one of the first ones, fill in the blank. Morris-Jenkins is
amazing.
Amazing. Great.
What is something that people often get wrong about you?
Often get wrong about me? That I can actually dance. I've been picked over the years for the videos and bites and stuff like that, whatever it's called, when they do the old, put it on the Facebook and everything, whatever, and they're like, do this, and I'm like, whatever the latest dance is, my kids know them, I cannot move. I'm the only person in my family that is like the Tin Man. I am rigid. Either my hips are fused, there's something wrong. Shakira says your hips don't lie. Mine have been lying for years because they do not move with any fluidity at all. So they think I can dance. They bring me up there. They're like, you can break dance. I said, that's different. That's not real dancing.
Apparently you can't skip either.
Oh yeah, I can't skip either. There's
rigid. There's some. What is this? What are the Giphies? There's some gifs out there of Randy doing the thing.
Oh yeah.
All right, next question. What's the last show you binge watched and loved?
Oh gosh, this is what's it? It's with my man Henry Winkler, Barry. I watched that. I never saw it before. I watched it. It was awesome.
It's good.
Yeah, I loved it.
Okay.
If you like that kind of thing.
Yep, check it out, people. All right, we talked a little bit about music before we started. Give us a concert you'll never forget.
Oh, a concert. My son and I went to see Metallica when he wanted to go see them. We went. I've been a Metallica fan from the beginning, and we went together here in Charlotte, and it was great. It was a great time. I was glad to go with him. You know, even though I sat down the whole time, I'm not getting into any craziness. So, well, maybe not the whole time, but yeah, that was great. That was just fun for us.
Metallica's good. All right, next question. What is your favorite meal?
Oh, that is so easy. Meatloaf. Meatloaf, mashed potatoes, man, all day long. My mother-in-law makes the world's best meatloaf. I'm saying this on this live right now, and we can edit this portion. Mike Long makes a smoked meatloaf. It is the best thing you'll ever taste. Honestly, smoked meatloaf is great. But meatloaf, mashed potatoes, I can eat that every day of the week.
Nice.
Second, can I give you a second, please? Chili dog, cheese and mustard. Chili, cheese and mustard. Chili dog.
From QT.
No, don't even go there. We're not going there. But no, I could. I'm like I said, I'm like a child. I eat meatloaf and hot dogs all day long.
All right, next one. Give us a snapshot of an ordinary moment in your life that brings you great joy.
Oh, that's easy. The kids are home and we are just hanging out, having fun. Everyone's of age, so we go out, even going out to dinner. It is, and not that it wasn't fun. I hated it when they were little. No, I didn't. I loved it. But being together with them right now, when they show up, because they're not there all the time. Linda and I and the kids, when we go somewhere, or even at home, we are karaoke crazy. So we do that, and that is like, I can almost cry thinking about it because it's just great to have everybody there. You know, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good moment. All right,
tell you, bust out the karaoke machine. I am not playing games. I can do it. I can do it.
I think I'm going to take your word for it. If it's anything like you're dancing, I think I'm going to take
your word for it. No. I'm telling you, I got it. That's something I can do.
All right, Randy, last question. What is one thing you are deeply grateful for right now?
I'm grateful for my boy, so many things, but my wife and my kids. I would never be where I am right now without them being patient with me, knowing how I am, knowing how I go to work, what I do, my work ethic, you know, how much time I put into that. I wouldn't be where I am, you know. So they don't. It's just like being here at Morris-Jenkins. They don't put the chains on me most of the time. So no, seriously, I'm grateful for my family because everything I do, I say this all the time. Everything I do for my family, but I would never be able to be where I am without them supporting me and knowing this is who I am and just sticking with me all these years, you know.
Accepting Randy for Randy.
That's right. So that's it.
Nice. All right. We also, stealing this from Brene Brown as well, we asked Randy to give us a 5-song playlist.
You're going to be shocked. You are going to be shocked.
This is quite the plethora.
It's a spread.
Yes, it is. Okay, so I'll say them.
Yeah, I am an all-around music fan, so you're gonna. I know the MJ family is going to be shocked when they hear this. Maybe.
All right, here they are, and if I say some names wrong, then just correct me, okay?
You're gonna go from 5. You're gonna go from 5 to 1.
Do you want me to go from 5
to 1? Was the last one number 1?
No.
Surprisingly, I'm going. It's just such a wide span of musical. You know, genres here, but go from not the first one. Go from the last.
All right. So number 5, Lil Wayne.
Lil Weezy.
6 foot, 7 foot.
That is a classic song. You cannot deny that. That's
you guys should have seen this fool in here dancing earlier. He was trying. He was giving it a go.
I was doing the Millie Rock. That's from my daughter Lexi taught me the Millie Rock.
All right. Next up, from Mike Reno and Ann Wilson. Almost Paradise.
Almost paradise, you're knocking on heaven's door. That's roller skating days, 1984. That's Linda and I. That's our song.
Yep, Footloose. For those of you have not seen the great film Footloose.
You got to watch it.
Yep.
Yeah, you ain't faking with Kevin Bacon. Just watch it.
All right, next up, Van Halen, Ice Cream Man.
Oh, if my kids listen to this, they're laughing right now because they know when you bust out the karaoke machine, I'm on it.
Truth be told, I have never heard this song before.
Oh,
I listened to
man.
it beforehand, and I'm like, I've never heard that.
Now guess what? Well, your ears have been graced with the Van Halen. So.
All right, next up, I think this is the workout song.
Yeah.
Skrills, Rick Ross.
Skrillex. Skrillex. Not Skrills. Oh.
Not to be confused with Grills. I knew I was going to say one wrong.
Sorry, Skrillex.
Sorry,
Hey, we got
if
we
you're
got-
listening.
If you're
Got
listening, sorry.
Skrillex here.
Okay,
And,
Skrillex,
that's right.
Purple Lamborghini.
Oh man, if you don't know that song, I know all the technicians we have. I know most of them know this song. It's classic.
It is a classic.
And when I'm running, Rob Johnson gave me this mixtape years ago. I don't know how long that was. It was a while back, and I got that in my ear to this day. If I'm running, that Purple Lamborghini comes on, and I'm running quicker, I'm running stronger, and I'm just smiling ear to ear.
It's the Skrillex, the beat drop with Rick Ross in the background.
That's right.
Is this the robot one we witnessed
Yes.
earlier?
Yes.
Maybe we should attach a video of that too.
in my head, I just see myself, anytime I'm walking up anywhere, I see that music playing, and I'm just, that's my walk-up music. I got it.
All right, last but not least, James Taylor, Your Smiling Face.
Yes, now that is a classic. You cannot have a good day. I mean, you cannot have a bad day when you put that on. So try it today or try it tomorrow morning. Your smiling face. Cue it up. Get in the van or your truck, whatever you're driving, and play that loud and proud. Get the bass going because a little tinny because it's some years old. But man, that is the best. You cannot have a bad day when you listen to that music. That's awesome. James Taylor's a classic. I saw him here in Charlotte, and it was Linda and I went, and it was awesome.
Okay, our final question then for you is, what does this playlist say about Randy Tooker?
It says he is fun. That's it. F-U-N, like SpongeBob. Fun time. It is a lot of fun. That's what it says. I'm looking to have some fun. He's not serious all the time. It is just life is short. You need to have some fun.
Yeah.
And that's what it is.
Yeah, if you want to have even more fun, just do it with Randy Tooker.
That's right.
Life with Randy Tooker.
When people ask where's your office? I'm like, it's Fun Time Central, right over here.
You don't hear the music?
Right.
Y'all know how many mornings this fool? I swear you have like a 10-inch sub underneath his desk.
do. I had Mark was tired of my jacked up throwback speakers, garage sale speakers I had on my computer from the old building, and he asked Dave Lang. So I came in one day and I had a bass boot. I got a subwoofer under my desk, and when I kick the jams now, it is just like the whole downstairs is just the whole place is just jumping.
The floor rattles up here.
Yeah.
Dispatch is getting a little.
Oh yeah, I'm
serenade.
calling out Chino because me and Chino we're pulling up classics, White Lines from the 80s, and we are just jamming down there.
Chino with his FBI jacket down there.
Jonathan Bancroft came run. I think I had some Eminem playing. It was so loud, and I had everybody. I was screaming from the desk. Chino was up, Dupree. We were all like raising the roof, and Jonathan Bancroft came around the corner, came right into my office. I was like, I like to scratch the record. I stopped it. I said, "What's happening? Hey, Jonathan, how are you?" And he's like, he named the song. He's like, that's it was like In the Club or something like that. And I said, yeah. He goes, crank it up. I was like, what? Nice. Here we go. I got the green light.
I thought you were going to say he walks in. You're like, Mark, turn that down. Turn it down.
I don't remember what the song was, but he was like, awesome. I can hear all the way down in my office. I was like, crank it up. Perfect. No, from that point, anybody who said anything, I said, JB said
He's
I
cool
can do
with
it. Jonathan Bancroft said it's okay.
I have the stamp of approval.
I did. I have a placard made that says Jonathan Bancroft says it's okay. Anytime someone comes in, hey, we're making phone calls. Can you? No, I can't turn it down. Nope.
Because Jonathan Bancroft
says it's
okay.
fine.
I got at least 5 more minutes.
All right. Well, I think that's it, folks. We hope you have enjoyed our very first interview / co-hosted podcast. I know I sure enjoyed this a whole heck of a lot.
Man, this is the best thing ever. I really appreciate you letting me come in here and spend some time with you. It's an honor, really, even to be in here with you two. You're awesome. It's so great. Thank you for asking me to be here. I appreciate it.
We appreciate you being here. And,
I hope nobody just turns me off halfway through, please, because that would kill me. If you do, don't tell me. You know you're gonna wreck me. I'll be done.
Well, we appreciate you coming in, taking time to be with us, and being the very first guest, the very first co-host.
Can I get a placard that says that?
Yes.
It'll be right underneath your Jonathan Bancroft says it's fine.
Yep. All right. So go follow us, folks. You don't want to miss it when new episodes come out. We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here, Randy.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Peace, love,
See
and
you.
easy does it.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you very much.